Welcome back to the trading floor. I'm David Axtell. Episode 17. Part 5 begins, and Part 5 is about currencies you cannot actually deliver. That sentence deserves a pause. Because it sounds strange, a currency you cannot deliver. But it describes a significant portion of global FX activity. And if you work with any exposure to Asia, Latin America, or the Middle East, you need to understand this. Let me start with the problem. You're a US multinational, you have a subsidiary in China, that subsidiary generates Chinese renminbi revenue. Every quarter, those earnings need to be converted back into dollars and repatriated to the parent. The exposure is real, the risk is real, you want to hedge it. But here's the problem. China operates a managed currency. The renminbi is not freely convertible. Moving capital across the Chinese border requires regulatory approval. You cannot simply enter a forward contract, wait 3 months, and deliver renminbi to your bank in London. The capital controls make that impossible for most international participants. So what do? You use a non-deliverable forward, an NDF. Same economic exposure as a forward contract. You agree a rate today for settlement in 3 months, but instead of delivering renminbi, both sides simply net the difference in dollars. No restricted currency changes hands, just a dollar payment reflecting the gain or loss. That is the elegant solution NDFs provide. They separate the economic exposure from the physical currency constraint. The settlement mechanics are straightforward once you understand the logic. On the fixing date, 2 business days before settlement, an independent benchmark publishes the official rate for the renminbi, that's the CFETS fixing, published by the China Foreign Exchange Trade System at 9:15 in the morning Beijing time, overseen by the People's Bank of China. That fixing rate is compared to your contracted NDF rate. The difference, expressed in dollars, is your settlement amount. The formula is clean. Notional amount multiplied by the difference between fixing rate and NDF rate divided by the fixing rate. That division converts the local currency gain or loss into the dollar amount actually paid. Let me make this concrete. A US corporation enters a 3-month USD CNY NDF. Notional $10 million. Contracted rate 7.28. 3 months later, the fixing rate comes in at 7.45. The renminbi has depreciated. Settlement amount? 10 million multiplied by 7.45 minus 7.28 divided by 7.45. That's approximately $228,000 flowing to the corporation. The corporation's Chinese revenue converts into fewer dollars at the weaker spot rate, but the NDF hedge pays out $228,000, largely offsetting that loss. That is hedge accounting in practice. The exposure and the instrument move in opposite directions. The treasurer sleeps at night. Now, the fixing mechanism is critical, and it deserves more attention than it usually gets. The fixing rate determines settlement. If you and your counterparty disagree about the fixing rate, you have a problem. That problem can generate disputes, litigation, and losses that have nothing to do with the market. The industry has converged on standard fixing sources for major currencies. CNY uses CFETS, Indian rupee uses the RBI reference rate, published at 12:30 Mumbai time. Korean won uses the Bank of Korea market average rate, published at 3:30 Seoul time. Taiwan dollar uses the Taipei Forex rate. These benchmarks are central bank administered or directly supervised. They have governance frameworks, they have publication times, they have dispute procedures. Your ISDA confirmation should specify the exact fixing source, the exact publication time, the fallback if the primary source is unavailable, and who acts as calculation agent if both sources fail. Get this right up front. Disputes at settlement are expensive in every sense. One concept that surprises practitioners when they first encounter it is the NDF basis. In a perfect world, NDF rates and onshore deliverable forward rates would be identical. Arbitrage would eliminate any difference. If NDFs traded cheaper than onshore forwards, you'd buy the NDF and sell the onshore forward, capturing a riskless profit until rates converged. But capital controls prevent that arbitrage. You cannot freely move in and out of the onshore market. The two markets are segmented, and because they're segmented, they can trade at different levels. The NDF basis is that difference. CNY NDFs typically trade 50 to 200 pips away from onshore deliverable forwards, depending on market conditions and policy expectations. Indian rupee basis runs wider, often 100 to 300 pips, reflecting stricter RBI capital controls. Korean won is narrower, 20 to 80 pips, because Korea's capital account is more liberalized. The basis fluctuates. It widens when capital controls are strictly enforced and arbitrage is completely blocked. It narrows when regulatory change makes the onshore market more accessible. For corporate hedgers, the basis is largely a cost of doing business, but for sophisticated participants, it's a signal. When the NDF basis blows wide, it tells you something about capital control effectiveness, offshore sentiment, and sometimes impending policy change. Let me step back and look at the market as a whole. The NDF market trades over $250 billion a day, according to the Bank for International Settlements. That is not a niche market. That is a significant portion of global FX activity. The major currencies are CNY, INR, KRW, TWD, BRL, and a handful of others. These are not small economies. China, India, South Korea, Taiwan, Brazil. These are significant trading partners for most multinationals operating globally. If your business has revenue or cost exposure in any of these markets, you have NDF exposure, whether you trade NDFs or not. If you're not hedging, you're just taking the risk unmanaged. One operational point that treasury teams sometimes underestimate is the timing difference between fixing and settlement. The fixing happens 2 business days before the settlement date. That means the rate is locked 2 days before the cash moves. For large hedge portfolios, this creates predictable cash flow impacts at month end as fixes roll and settlements land. Your treasury management system needs to track both dates separately. Systems designed for deliverable forwards sometimes treat the maturity date as a single event. For NDFs, there are 2 events. The fix determines the amount, the settlement determines when you receive or pay it, 2 days apart, different implications for forecasting and liquidity management. To close, here's the broader picture. NDFs exist because capital controls exist. Capital controls exist because governments want to manage their currency, their capital account, or both. As long as China, India, Korea, and Brazil operate with restrictions on physical currency movement, the NDF market will remain large and essential. The instrument is elegant. It solves a real problem. It separates economic exposure from physical delivery constraints. And it does so through a simple cash settlement that any international bank can process. Next episode, we go inside the market itself. How NDFs are priced and executed, who makes the market, how to choose between electronic and voice execution, and why dealer quote skew tells you something important about where the market is positioned. This is The Trading Floor. I'm David Axtell. FX Cash Products by Luigi Rondinini and myself is now available through all major bookstores and directly from rondinini.com. Part 5, covering NDFs in full institutional detail, is chapters 16 through 18. Settlement mechanics, fixing governance, basis analysis, risk management, everything you need. For professional NDF tools, including settlement calculators, basis tracking models, and fixing source monitoring dashboards, visit learn.rondinini.com. For corporate treasury teams navigating emerging market hedging programs, Luigi provides consultancy through rondinini.net. And for institutions needing hands-on FX and treasury expertise, I'm available through axtellconsulting.net. See you in episode 18.